Good afternoon. Thank you very much. I'm going to speak about the Sotra connection. And as I learned today, it's probably one of the biggest PPP projects that's launched. It will be a budget from around 1 billion to 1.3 billion euros. So I will try to say a little bit about that and also take questions afterwards. And I also learned a lot today because in Norway, we don't usually use PPP projects. It's nearly, we had 5 to 10 the last 20 years. But now, since we had a new conservative government, for the last 6 years, they have launched a lot of new projects that will be realized through this way of doing it. But first, I will say a little bit where we are and what we are.
Her ute I havgapet vokste jeg opp. Her fisker vi, bader og satte segl. Skal litt ned der, Akkurat slik folk har gjort her ute på kysten I mer enn 1000 år. Naturen og havet selve livsgrunnlaget vårt. Men hva det som gjør at dette øyriket så spesielt? Bli med og se. Kyst, sjø og hav har alltid vært sentralt I både Sund, Fjell og Øygarden kommune. I dag det fremdeles havet som gir arbeid til folk her. Men på stadig nye måter. Her vi fremtidsrettet, innovasjon og teknologi står I førersetet. Men naturen gir oss så mye mer. Som små og store opplevelser som fester seg I minnet. Her det både trygt, trivelig og ikke minst spennende å bo. Fremtiden her ute på Strilalandet lys. Snart vært med en ny stor kommune. Her det planer for flere bostader og en pulserende kystby. En ny og større Sotrabru skal gjøre koblinger mot fastlandet enklere og raskere. Men hva det som virkelig gjør denne staden så spesiell? Det folket. De som bor her, de som engasjerer seg, de som ser mulighetene. Dette oss. Dette nye Øygarden kommune.
Yes, that's saying a little bit about the area. And as you mentioned when you introduced me, we are only 40,000 people, but still we are investing in one of the biggest road projects in Northern Europe. Today we are 3 municipalities, Fjell, Sund and Øygarden, but from the 1st of January we will be new Øygarden municipality. The whole public sector in Norway is kind of reorganizing, and it will reduce the number of municipalities with around 60. The goals were to reduce it with 150, but they're still working on it. One of the biggest opportunity and biggest challenge we have is that we are only 15 minutes from Bergen city center. Bergen city center, Bergen is the second largest city in Norway with around 300,000. So it's challenging because many see us as a part of Bergen, but we don't. We also have one of the main strong industry area in Norway. We are the biggest area for the oil and gas industry. We have the biggest oil and gas process plants in Northern Europe. We also have plan for the CO2 storage plant that will be opened in 2025. And normally people come to our area to work. We also have a lot of sea farms and fishing. And the goal for the new municipality is to be the leading ocean industry region in Europe. And if we're going to be that, we need new infrastructure. So infrastructure, as mentioned earlier today by others, is the key to growth and development. If we don't have if you don't have infrastructure that works every day, it is a big challenge. So, therefore, okay, this is from the communication department. It's very nice, so you can visit, I had to say. So, okay. Here is about the project. And it's in Norwegian, so I will try to tell a little bit on top of it. You also see the population, the distance from Bergen. It will be a 4-lane new road system that will cover the whole road from Bergen to the main roads on the mainland. Today we have a bridge that was built in 1971, and it was built for 12,500 cars annually average per day. Today there is almost 28,000. That means that when I'm going from the city center to my home, it takes 7 minutes in the evenings and in the middle of the day, and in the morning and the afternoon, it's taking 1 hour. Nobody wants to move to this area. Nobody wants to invest if we don't do anything about it. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about, because I was asked, how good can you sell in this kind of project that is so huge compared to the number of people it's solving the problem for. So you see here is the main thing is the new bridge with 4 lanes, and it's also built for a cycle lane from the city center to the whole island. It's a lot of tunnels. It's covering a lot of new infrastructure for buses. And also it's kind of solving local problems on the way. The big discussion now, that's probably also you have here, is that the climate change has also challenged these big infrastructure projects. And as you probably know, the UN goals for sustainable growth is also, we have to use it for every public planning in Norway from the 4th of May this year. Every plan has to describe how it's connected to the UN sustainable goals. If we can't fulfill them, then they won't accept the plan for a new infrastructure project. Yeah, you know more about the road than me, but it looked nice when it's finished, but it's not, unfortunately. We also have a big building, a big city, a new coast city. It started with around 1,000 flats. Now it's planned for to take for the next 20 years. It's planned for taking around 20 to 25,000 new houses. Okay. So this is the challenge. We had a bridge, as I told you, for 12,500 cars. Now it's 28,000, and it's kind of breakdown every day. As a mayor or the vice mayor that is today, I daily get phones from the public. So when we went to office 4 years ago, we discussed how can we got this approved by the government. Because as you probably know, Norway has a lot of road projects, it's a lot of queue, and a lot of want to solve new bridges and new tunnels. But we used the local industry and we used the public. Because if politicians, they always scream for more money, But if you get the pressure from the industry that says that if we don't get a new connection to Bergen, the growth for this area that is quite big and important for the whole country wouldn't happen. So if you see, the first bridge was finished in 1971. Then we had a really growth in population and also in cars, of course. That's connected. But from 2019, we can now say it's going down, and we don't get so much people to move out to these islands. But it takes time, a lot of time. In 2003, we established a company for this project. And you see, today the tender will probably be launched around Christmas. And it's a huge project. We're still wondering, I heard earlier today, there are 2 offers. Well, we still are kind of wondering how many offers will we get on a tender that it's 1 billion to 1.3 billion euros. But it's always an upside. In Norway, we are lucky. The government will pay 50% of the bill. Then the rest will be paid by the road tax, and the road tax will approximately be around €5 each way. So it's quite expensive for the people, but the alternative is worse. There's no new road at all. So road taxation in Norway have been under pressure the last couple of years, but still there are accept to pay when you can drive on that road. It's not accepted to pay if it's a general tax, but if it's a tax for this new project, then we had a kind of investigation in the public, then they said that then it's okay. So it's so then we're going to pay €5 each way for each car every day. So that will normally give us 15 to 20 years to pay it down. But the alternative is no road. And that's one of the points that we also used a lot of time before we got the final decision in the parliament in May last year. What if not? If we not build this new connection, what will then happen? Especially since we are so big in the oil and gas industry and also in the aquaculture, also sea farming, the growth in these 2 sectors will stop. And especially since the oil and gas industry is still so important for Norway, we use that together with local companies as a pressure against the central parliament to kind of prioritize our projects. Therefore, I was everybody, as you see here, who's going to plan and think planning on a so big project start early. So now when we finish with this one, we are now discussing what will be the next big project in our area. Will we move to the south of that? We get 2 connections. Today we only have 1. Probably we should have another connections farther south from the island. And to the final question, what does this mean? I think it means everything, and that's easy for a politician to say. And as I said earlier, it's I think most of the times when politicians go to Oslo for us, to the capital, to tell, we need something, then they say, okay, you all came here and talk about what you need. But when we came to office, we discussed who is the main supporters for our project. Then we invited them to a meeting, around 20, 25 main players, and then we brought them to Oslo to meet the central government, and said, if we don't get to speed up this project, then it will kind of be it will stop the growth and development that it's also useful for the whole country. And we also kind of used a lot of the other political parties that everybody agreed, even the new green parties in Norway agreed that we have to build a new road. And that's quite interesting if you see other discussion around that. So And since we not started building yet, we have started because it's a main power supply goes in the air that a new bridge going to be. So we have started to build tunnels to move that underground, and we also started to buy areas to build the new road. So it had started, but the big tender for around 1 billion euros hasn't been out yet. It will be out around Christmas. And the last I want to mention is keep up the pressure. We have weekly meetings, still now, weekly meetings for 1 hour that we discuss how is the project going on, where is the obstacle, can it stop, what is challenging. And we don't even have any power over it, but we need the public to pressure on to get it done. And last and not least, I think if we're going to kind of lift new project or present new project for the central government, I think if you don't use the UN sustainable goals, I think the whole will stop. So in Norway, as I told earlier, from this year, every public planning have to be connected to UN's goals. Every. Also new roads. Okay, I think I have time for some question. Thank you.
Thank you, that was very interesting. And I think that looking at the video, many people want to move to your region, right?
So, tax is quite high then, but still.
Yeah, but it's beautiful, so that's the price. But can we have the questions on the screen, please? So first one was the exceptional landscape, like the video worked clearly. Yeah. So what is the main challenge in terms of environmental impact? How is the project perceived in the local community due to the environment risks, which has kind of quite often raised here as well with those kind of projects?
It's, I think around 99.9% says it's okay. Because some of the houses that will be turned down and some of the areas that will be direct, have an impact direct on the areas that maybe say no, but else it's everybody supported because the alternative, and I also discussed a lot of alternative, what if not? Not it also answer, and that's okay, but it has its consequences that we see stop for development, stop for growth in our area. So I think we meet it in a discussion, what is the alternative? And we also get asked, do you need a so big road system? Know that fewer people drive cars, a lot more people can use buses. Yes, because the goods, also the fish and the oil products and the technical products need to go to the markets, and they still need the roads. Then you can have no pollution trucks or no pollution cars, but they still need roads. Yes?
Okay. Yeah. Do we have another question from the audience? Anything else? Yes, one here.
Yes. Yeah, the main challenges there is the CO2, also the pollution, the local pollution, or also the national pollution. But since we are planning the CCS center for storage of the CO2, then it's kind of it's undoing the bad with the new project, and that will be finished in around 2025, and also has a lot of German customers that are looking to move with ships the CO2 to Øygarden, where we're going to put it back underground under the North Sea. So you kind of the project itself doesn't match all the goals, not unfortunately. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
This was interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.